Hey guys, we are making a few changes to our LCS and Academy teams this week. Here is some context regarding the changes. Today, Huni will be announcing his retirement from competitive play due to wrist injuries. He'll be assisting the coaching staff for the remainder of the split. Huni has been very vocal over the last 2 weeks about his desire to help with pick ban and develop Soul. We believe his knowledge and experience will help grow our young talent. Soul, our new up-and-coming... Actually, let's just talk about that real fast. I think Huni has definitely... His level of play has been pretty sus for a while. I think it might be tied to, I'm going to give him a little bit benefit of the doubt here. Like, his wrist injuries are real. I think that definitely goes hand in hand, right? Like, the fact that he physically cannot practice a lot, regardless of his desire to practice, if he just can't play, that's really going to fuck him over mechanically, champion pool wise, and just like, spamming champions queue is like really not an option after scrims. So, Huni, honestly, though, is one of the better performers on this roster. Like, he doesn't really take over games the way that he used to when he was on Immortals. And even sometimes when he was playing on Clutch, when he was on that Clutch roster with like Vulcan, Cody Sun, and Demonte, I do think that he was a lot better in the past, but he's not even close to being like the issue for the current roster. So it really sucks that he has to step down involuntarily, and it's something that plagues like a lot of players who played for a while, wrist injuries. Sucks for him, but like good for him that in the same way that he has the option to coach. Now Soul is coming in. He's the Academy top laner. He says, our new up-and-coming top laner was promoted earlier than we originally expected, but has shown great ambition to step up to the role. Before he was promoted to fill Huni's shoes, we thought he was a 7th to 8th top laner in the LCS. But during the scrims, his performance has surprisingly exceeded our expectations. We believe that as long as he continues to improve and gain experience, he will become an LCS top 4 top laner in the near future. One thing that already kind of stands out as being a little weird is like whoever wrote this is inserting a lot of like their own personal opinions or just like random kind of I guess what I'm trying to say is they're trying to like set the expectations for the community, and I'm like not the biggest fan of that, because at the end of the day, the people who can most accurately assess how good a player is another player. I don't think that there's really many GMs or coaches that are good at figuring out who's good and who's not, and who is, in the 7th to 8th place range and who is in the top 4. It seems very specific. And I think in that same way, it comes off as someone who is like extremely, like, I am really confident in my ability to assess someone's skill. And when I say that, like, oh, someone could be really good, like, I think I don't try to keep it like even this specific. Top 4 top laner? What do you mean by that? Like, just throw out all the top laners in the LCS right now. We're talking about Someday, Bwipo, Fudge, and I'm missing another big one, actually, Impact. So he thinks that he's going to be as good or better in the near future than those guys. I don't know about that, right? Like, I think you're actually like kind of like you're setting people's expectations wrong. And I think if you were to ask most pro players, like, hey, do you think that this guy will be as good as, like I said, Someday, Impact, Fudge, and Bwipo in the near future, whatever that may be, in near future could be this split or next split, they would tell you you're fucking insane. I think the guy has potential, of course, right? I came from nothing, and I climbed up the ranks just like every pro player did. It's just weird. It's just weird. I expect him to be as good as Gamsu. I expect him to be a liability that doesn't stick out like a sore thumb in laning phase. That is a fine expectation for an Academy player, but you don't have to write that in this post. You just have to temper people's expectations like, hey, this guy's coming from Academy with very little experience playing professionally at all, and the team is terrible. The team is imploding in the middle of summer split. You're telling me that he's going to be a top 4 top laner in the near future? I don't know. I just don't like it because you're setting him up for failure. That's all. And I like this guy. He's actually really friendly in Champions Queue. I like him a lot. Solo. He is a veteran player that should add some stability to Academy for the remainder of the split as we look to evaluate our junior Academy players. At the same time, we believe he's a very reliable and can step up if our LCS team needs him. Okay. Solid. Again, I think that Solo is slightly undervalued by most people. I've already talked about that so many times, I'm not going to repeat myself. Academy Jungle, Anda. He's a veteran player who has played on FlyQuest and 100 Thieves, who has shown his proficiency as a shot caller and will provide a level of stability in the jungle for our Academy team. Riot has given approval for Anda to play remotely in Canada for the rest of the Academy split until his visa is approved. We are in the process of collecting necessary documents for his visa application, as he can play with the team in person for Proving Grounds Summer 2022. So my theory here is that they have given up on the idea, or maybe they are just accepting the fact that they might not be able to retain Spica because they have done musical chairs with the roster twice. He's the only remaining member of the 2022 roster, or sorry, of the 2020 roster. They blew it all up, rebuilt around him, blew it all up again, rebuilt around him. He's probably not, I mean, I say that in parentheses, right? Like, he's probably not thrilled with the way that the team has been managed. And like I said, every single team is always trying to figure out how they're going to deal with like the exit of a star player. Maybe Anda is like part of that. Hyper, despite putting in more effort this summer than he did in the last split, he was still unable to meet expectations. This was a hard decision since we'd like to reward his effort and him taking the necessary steps to improve. But right now we need someone more stable in the position, so we had to let him go when someone more fitting showed up. Okay, that is pretty brutally honest and straight to the point. Let's keep going. Tactical. Tactical will be moving to Academy due to some ongoing performance and personal issues. Again, pretty brutally honest. Tactical definitely does have some performance issues. Instinct has been playing really well with Chime and Scrims. We believe he is our best option at 80 carry. We have not ruled out looking to pick up an external 80 carry to close out the split if we believe Instinct needs more time to develop. I don't watch Academy. I have heard from many people, I have heard from so many people that Instinct was the worst Academy 80 carry. I play against him like on and off in Champions Queue, and just anecdotally, he's pretty bad. He really just looks out of place even in Champions Queue. So sus about him being good. And I think like the way that this team is kind of like speaking so matter of factly to the community is like appreciated, definitely, because like you know what you're getting. But where's the sense of camaraderie? This feels like this doesn't feel like a team that's sort of in it together and in the same boat together. This seems like a fucking band of mercenaries that is hired and put on contract. You know what I mean? Like, it's like, we've not ruled out replacing this guy. And they say the same kind of thing about their top laner. But I almost have never seen a team send this sort of message publicly, which is like, we are going to, you're on thin ice right away. Whether that's true or not, it just is like a strange message to be sending out. And it doesn't make people feel very good playing for the team. It does sound strictly business. But not only does it sound strictly business, because like even if you take it from a strictly business standpoint, it's so much better for you if your team feels like they're in this boat and in this like journey together. So like, who is this guy? Bullsy fucking blah blah blah. I think this is Glenn, right? This is Glenn, right? It's like one of their general managers or something like that. It's weird, man. All right, let's finish this out. So Chime will be picking up Chime from Golden Guardians. His performance over the break was top-notch and gave us confidence in his ability to succeed with Instinct. Since they've been practicing well together over the last week, because of this synergy, we've decided to use Chime as LCS starter in week 5. We also want to thank Golden Guardians for letting Chime go mid-split. Golden Guardians chose to prioritize Chime's future by allowing him to pursue the opportunity for a starting LCS spot at TSM. I'm guessing they let him go for either minimal or no buyout in the middle of the split, which is a good thing for the player and a bad, business decision on the org's part. Shenyi. Unfortunately, Shenyi is becoming a liability to our Academy team's development. We originally believed that Shenyi could be our starting support for our LCS team. However, we quickly realized that Mia had a better champion pool and laning skills than Shenyi, earning Mia the LCS starting spot. When Shenyi was moved to the Academy team, he became demotivated and did not meet expectations. This lack of motivation combined with the absence of shot calling stunted the development of the Academy team as a whole. Instead of waiting until the end of summer, we thought it would be best to make the necessary changes now so we can properly evaluate our junior Academy players going into the next offseason. I am like mixed on this because like this kind of reads like someone's Dunzo manifesto, which I think is fucking absolutely hilarious. But it's definitely like, what the fuck did you expect? So I don't even know, like, what do you guys think is better? The way that they wrote that? Or do you think it's better to just kind of release people and wish them good luck in the future? Almost just a fluff piece, like despite their best efforts and like despite their commitment to improving, blah, blah, blah. Like, thank you, X, I think for entertainment value, this definitely wins, but in terms of just like making people want to actually play for your org, the fluff piece is certainly better. Basically, like the message that's given here is like, oh, so like if I join TSM and I become demotivated, or I I have like performance issues, or I have personal issues, then the org is gonna not only release me, which is acceptable, you know, acceptable to be released for whatever issues you have, but not only am I going to be, it's going to be aired out. Like that feels pretty bad from a player's perspective, and I can tell you immediately that, you know, that's not going to go over super well. But from an entertainment standpoint, this is sucking gold, man.